Here, and then we're going live on Facebook. Okay, so we're live on Facebook now. We're shooting from a new computer I bought, so it looks good. Let me deal with this real quick. Since I'm now live. So hello everybody, how you doing? Good day, good evening, good whatever. We got YouTube over here, we got Facebook over here. I'm gonna have to try to intermingle these two so I don't look like I'm looking away from you folks. But anyway, good afternoon. I'm going to work here pretty soon, but I am totally shocked at and I know a lot of you listen out there. A lot of you do. And so sometimes I'm selfish because I get caught up in my own ignorance and don't share what's here. It's a little hot right now. I'm gonna have to open the window maybe over there. Give me a second. There. It's a little better. Anyway, all that's going on today, it's kind of crazy because you've got lie after lie after lie after lie. And you got most of the people that are supposed to be established in truth that follow these lies. And it's kind of disheartening. It really is. It's very disheartening. And I'm like, okay. So, I'll tell you something though. I'll give you something that's, if you want to see this, I'll give it to you. The sun is always the sun. You can guarantee that. The sun is always the sun. The sun will always rise and set, although it doesn't rise and set because it sits in the middle and the earth is the one that rotates. So the earth will always rotate to make the sun appear to rise and set. I'll say it like that. I'm going to say that for my oldest daughter, Jasmine. Well, I've got an older daughter than her, Jessica. But in that realm, I remember I always told my kids when they were little and getting older, I said, look, if I say something and you disagree with it and you can bring a better argument, bring it. Bring it. And if you're solid, I'll follow it. So I remember this is, and if she's watching or comes across this, hello, Jasmine. Here's what she told me. She said, and I'm not stumped too much. I'll tell you guys something. I'm not stumped. I'm really not stumped much. When I meet someone that stumps me, it's just like, whoa, because I'm never stumped, Anyway, let me go back to this. So I said, yeah, and I was driving, I think. And I said, that big ball, or maybe we were at home. I can't remember. But anyway, I said, that big ball of fire in the sky. And here's what she said. She said, Dad, it's not made of fire. I said, what do you mean? She goes, it's not made of fire. I said, I've seen videos. I've seen there's flames. She goes, that's not fire. She goes, so fire needs oxygen to breathe. And there's no oxygen in space, Dad. I went, oh, wow. Okay. She said, so it's a ball of plasma. It's plasma, Dad, not fire. And I went, wow. There we go. So now I call it a ball of plasma. That's what I call it because of her argument, because she was right. Fire needs oxygen to breathe. There's no oxygen in space, so therefore the sun cannot. Anyway, going back to this now. So getting to the solidity of truth, and I'm going to share this with you, and a lot of you get upset about it, and that's okay. But this is truth. This is true. Now I know, because I'm going to give you some examples. Now these aren't my own. I'll tell you something, folks. I would rather sit and draw and paint and go kick it and go to the bars and play pool and kick it with people and all that stuff. I would rather do that. But I'm compelled to share these truths with you. I am. Like I said, anyway, going back to this. So, many have said this is based on translation, the Word of God. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's true to an extent in this respect. This is based on God's translation, not man's. I'm going to give that to you right now. I'm going to show you what I mean. Okay, the sun. Myself, my perception, ball of fire, because I watched a video and I seen look like flames coming off it. And I'm saying, well, what does have flames? Fire. When my daughter pointed out to me about plasma, well, of course, I had to reiterate my thinking and go, okay, so it is a ball of plasma. It is not a ball of fire. So the sun, if you will, some people have worshipped it. I know my kids are Spokane. Children of the Sun is the translation. I don't know if they worship the sun. I don't know if they highly regard that. I don't know any of that religion they had or belief or whatever it was. I know the Aztecs did. I mean, I can't say I know, but I can say that they had. But it's based on their perception. So if they looked in the sky and they got this idea, now I'm going to give you something. I'm going to give you something that I actually got beat up over this. I don't know why I'm sharing this with you, but I actually got beat up over this. I actually literally got beat for sharing this. Okay. And again, in this time of lies that are just going so far out of fallacies, of no truths, and Christians lining up to follow these lies, which of course they should. They're Christian. They're fooled by any, and they are. And I'm going to share something with you guys. You guys want to stay out of church buildings. I'm going to tell you that right now. Stay out of church buildings. Church buildings are man's ideas. If you really want truth, get around the body of Christ, which are people that are truly born again of God. I'm going to tell you that right now. A lot of you are going to hate it. A lot of you are going to like it because we've been engrafted and ingrained to believe that we need to go to a building on a certain day and that's what is okay or that's what we need to do. Not true. That's a man-made idea. Period. Okay. Now, I'm going to give it to you. That's a history. I'll give it later. But I'm going to share this with you. Watch this. So, when someone now, I did feel like this big when she told me that explanation. My daughter, I really did. I felt like this big because I thought, how is a kid gonna know more than me? That's what I thought immediately. My mindset was, how is a kid gonna know more than me? I should know these things because I'm an adult, and you know, I tag or brand myself as a man who has understanding and all that junk. And that's what happens to a lot of folks. That's what happens to a lot of people. I'm sorry, I'm sweating. It's just so hot in here. Summer, but I got my window open, so it should cool off in a minute. Anyway. Plus, I ate a hot pepper too, and I sweat when I eat hot peppers. Anyway, um, when people looked at the sun and had an idea of it, had an idea about, okay, this is what it is. Here's the thing, folks. Here is the thing. Your opinion, my opinion, does not matter. And I'm going to tell you why. When we're little, we have an idea of things. When we get older, we have another idea of things. As we get older and we progress on, that idea changes. That's why opinions are so weak and so feeble, because they'll change with the times. You will sell your opinion and change it for a certain amount, and you will. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. But truth doesn't. Truth, truth is not based on whether you believe it or I believe it. Truth is truth. That's it. I'm sorry, but that's the way it is. Let me show you what I'm going to give you this. I'm going to give you this right now. Now, this is found in the book of Acts. Watch this. Oh, watch. I'll show this to you. I think it's in the lower ones. Let me make sure here. Oh, wow. Let me make sure. Oh, let me see. It's probably over here. I'm making sure. Oh, yeah. Here we go. Now I'm going to give this to you. I'm going to give this to you. You can read this for yourself. It's found in Acts chapter 17. Now, again, because we go through hardships. There's no question about that. We all go through things. I could share a story with you, where I was on the verge of just quitting 100%. I'm talking exiting the earth. Okay. And again, I don't say what the usual consensus or the usual sayings are of, well, whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger and all that stuff. I don't say that. Okay. Okay. While I'm stupid, God is God. When I realize I'm stupid, God is God. After I'm stupid, God is still God, period. God does not change. God does not conform. God does not ingrain himself into the culture, into the ideas, into the fabric of society. He does not, because God is. Now, you might say to yourself, you might tell yourself, well, technology is pretty amazing. Okay, watch. I'm going to show you something. I'm watching news, if you will, and I'm seeing how people go to healthcare to live longer, but then they lose their livelihood to live longer. So what's their life worth? And the people that hold the power in their hands say, okay, how much is your life worth? If you don't have any kind of um, substance, well, you're worth nothing. So we'll just let you go off to the wayside because that's where you belong anyway. That's the truth. You might not see that, but that's the truth. If you got a little substance, they don't go, oh, gee, you're worth something because you got. No. Here's what they say. How can we prolong this? How can we make this longer to seize out all the assets that we can of these people? Because that's all wealth is. Wealth is a transference. That's all it is. It isn't a gain. It isn't a possession. It's a transference. It's going to go to someone else. Even the money you earn, you might not like this, but it's true. The money you earn is not your money. You might think, my paycheck. No. Your name is on that paycheck. But look at the other names on the paycheck. That's who that. Come on, folks. You might hold $100 bill in your hand. Your name's not even on that. Look at the names on that. See what I'm saying? And that's the truth. Again, not to put down money, not to put down earning money. I'm going to my job here pretty soon, so I'm not saying anything about you possessing things. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying you fool yourself. You really believe you own those things, and that's where you're enslaved. That's where you have no freedom. Okay, let me go back to this now. Watch this. Watch this. Let me go back. Chapter 17. Okay, let's look at this. But when the Jews of Thessalonica had knowledge that the word of God was preached of Paul at Berea, they came thither also and stirred up the people. Now, here's the thing about that certain arena. Paul is preaching the word of God. Here comes the Jews, like the Christians, and instead of supposedly, because they say they believe in God, they get upset. They get mad. What's going on there? One of them is a liar. Yes. I'm telling you right now. Okay, watch this. And then immediately the brethren sent away Paul to go, as it were, to the sea. But Silas and Timotheus abode there still. And this is chapter 17 of the Acts and 15. And they that conducted Paul brought him unto Athens, and receiving a commandment unto Silas and Timotheus for to come to him with all speed, they departed. Now, while Paul waited for them at Athens, his spirit was stirred in him when he saw the city wholly given to idolatry. So the whole city, the entire city was given to idolatry. Okay. What does that mean? Okay, now here's a thing. Here's a thing, folks. You know, everybody on this earth is superstitious. I'm going to tell you what superstitious is. Superstitious is based on feeling, based on emotion, based on freak occurrences, all these things that go on in the world. That's what superstition is built on. Okay. And these folks were devoted, gave themselves, dedicated, if you will. Even people. Now, here's a funny thing, folks. I'm going to tell you something right now. This is what floors me about atheists. And if you're atheist and listening, watch this. This is what floors me about you. If there is no God, why argue against it? You see what I'm saying? You're being a crusader like the other ones that you oppose. So you're just like the ones you oppose and vice versa. Okay? Straight up. That's what's crazy about it. You sit there and start channels. There is no God. And the other ones are saying there is a God. You're the same thing. Silly. There might be another planet just like this one out there, but I don't let it affect me because I'm here right now and I don't pay attention to it because to me it's not there. You get what I'm saying now? Okay, watch this. Therefore disputed he in the synagogue with the Jews. He disputed with the Jews. Notice, he didn't go to the people that were idolaters, meaning they followed idols. He didn't go to them. What's going on here? Something going on here. Closed unused applications. Your life stream experience informative. You try closing other. Okay, I'll do that. Close other applications in my thing. There we go. Comment. Who made a comment? Oh boy. One viewer, one comment. Oh. What's up, bro? How you doing, James? Okay. So here's the thing. Now, again, and I say this, and I keep saying this, and I'll say it every single time. I am not trying to get any of you to believe in God, period. I am not trying to convince anyone there is a God, period. I'm not. I'm not trying to get you to join a church. I'm not trying to get you to do a following. Here's what I'm doing. Okay. How do they say that? It's always dark before the sun rises. Before the storm hits, there's always a quiet. So here's all I'm doing. Just shining a light. If you want to see, go for it. If you don't want to see, whatever. Watch this. You'll love this. So he went to the ones that claimed to believe. He went straight to them. So I'm going to tell you something right now. I share this all the time, and it's true, and you'll agree with it. Even if you don't believe in God, you'll agree with this. As many churches are there in this city should be floating 10 feet off the ground for the crap they proclaim every Sunday. Ooh, that's bad, but it's true. Hello. You know why hospitals don't advertise? Do you know why? Because everybody believes in that stuff. There's no religion on hospitals, although there is. We don't want to say it, but it's true. Doctors are the preachers. The congregants are the patients. And the bill is the 10% more than that. But people believe that. People literally believe that. Medicine. You have to believe that. If you don't believe me, watch this. Or if you don't see it, watch this. Watch a what do they call it? Prescription. Watch a pharmaceutical commercial about pills. And they'll say it on there. We believe. They'll say it. You see what I'm saying? And so here, Churches, as many as there are in this city. This city, there should be no crime in this city, according to the crap they profess every Sunday. Okay? But it's not true. See, like I said, Paul didn't go to the unbelievers, he didn't go to the idolaters, he didn't go to the heretics. He went straight to the ones that claim to know because it's their fault. Prove it, okay. You have a home, children are starving. You don't blame the kids. And if you do, you're just horrible. You're just horrible if you blame the kids. Who is to blame for children starving? The parents. Period. He went straight to the Jews. Watch this. Therefore disputed he in the synagogue with the Jews and with the devout persons and in the market daily with them that met with him. Notice that. He disputed in the synagogue with the Jews, because that's where you'll find them, and with the devout persons. He disputed with them too. Well, the devout people shouldn't be disputed because they're devout, so they should have some inkling. No. No. I'm going to tell you right now, we are all wrong. How do I know that? I'll give it to you right now. Do you make oxygen? No, you don't. Yet you breathe it freely without any obligation to anyone. But you really believe because you breathe it, you're in control and power. Sorry, you're not. Think about that. But we're so we're so geared to act because again, when you're a kid, like kids, they're told what to do. Like I was, my kids were too, and they're like a racehorse when they want to become their own and they're ready to go. I want to see what's out there. I want to see it, and some of my kids are adults now, and they're more than likely seeing what I had shared with them when they were younger. I'm gonna end this soon. We're at 22 minutes. We're good to go. I gotta get a shower and I gotta get ready for work. Anyway, my kids, my kids are more than likely seeing all that I shared with them when they were under my care. They're watching it. They're seeing it. Some of them seen it when they were still in middle school, which they shouldn't have, but they seen other kids going through it. A lot of my kids. Let's give me a second. I'll turn this tape over. Give me a second. I'll be right back. Okay. So some of them thought I was being mean because I said the things that I said, but I said no. I'm letting you know what's out there before you get out there. I didn't shield them from anything. I told them everything that was out there, be it sexual, be it backstabbing, whatever it was. I shared with them. I opened up and I said, "Look, here's what's going to go on when you get out there." I'm not saying to be paranoid or to just be careful. I didn't raise them, shielded. I mean, some things, of course, I shielded them from, but I didn't cut no corners. Okay. Then certain philosophers of the Epicureans and of the Stoics encountered him. And here's what they said. Some said, "What will this babbler say?" Others, some, "He seemeth to be a setter forth of strange gods, because he preached unto them Jesus and the resurrection." Notice, it says he preached unto them Jesus. Now, here's the thing I want to share with you. Oh, I got to say it. You're going to be mad, but I'm going to say it. Jesus is a cuss word today. And I'm not talking about the people who say, "Oh, Jesus," or "Jesus Christ." I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the bad taste that Christians leave in people's mouths because of their arrogance. I believe him, so I'm better than you. They got a rude awakening coming. I'm telling you right now. These church-going, pew-sitting, pulpit parrots, as in the ones that repeat what they're told, mimickers, got a rude awakening coming. It ain't the lost. It ain't the sinner. It ain't the most derogatory person you can think of. It's these ones that claim to know him. They're in for a rude awakening. Okay. So he preached unto them Jesus, and I'm talking about the Jesus of the Bible, not the Jesus of the building, not the Jesus of the movement, not the Jesus of America. I'm talking about this one of the Bible. That's who he truly was preaching. And no one's heard of him. They haven't heard of him. In this day and age, they haven't. They heard about this other guy. And I can tell you who that other guy is. Not yet, but I will. Watch this. And they took him and brought him unto Areopagus. Now they took Paul. Come on, dude. We need you to talk to somebody. Paul is in the marketplace daily. Paul is sitting there and disputing with people. And so they took him and they brought him to Areopagus, saying, may we know what this new doctrine whereof thou speakest is. What is this that you're saying? They're asking him, what are you talking about? Okay, now I'm going to tell you folks something. When truth is really spoken, it'll sound foreign to you. Okay? I watch some of those movies sometimes. I watch a lot of movies. I love movies. And I'll hear how the man will be married. And the wife will admit to herself being wrong and the man being right. And the dude will be shocked. What? Because he's never heard that before. So that's what it is. When you hear truth, it's foreign. When you see solidity, it's foreign. That's what shocks me about when I go to work. Everybody's like, oh my God, you're so friendly. And I'm thinking to myself, well, shouldn't it be that way with all of us? I'm telling myself this. Why are you shocked? You know, it'd be like someone opening their window, hearing birds sing in the morning and going, oh my God. Maybe if they don't listen, maybe they don't hear them. Hello. It's shocking to me because they're like, you know, wow, you're the best one in this whole store. That's what they tell me. And I'm thinking, well, you really can't say that because they didn't set the bar too high. They didn't. But they're shocked. They're shocked that someone is friendly and nice. And they're like, we're missing that. We're missing that. And of course, you get the Christian to come along and go, oh, here's a little pamphlet. You're a potential candidate for salvation. So I'll hand this pamphlet to you, you little peon bastards. Really, that's their attitude. Then you get the other Christian. Where do you go to church at? Leave me alone. What's this? For thou bringest certain strange things to our ears. We would know therefore what these things mean. Now watch what it says here. For all the Athenians and strangers which were there spent their time in nothing else but either to tell or to hear some new thing. That's all they did. Hello. What does that sound like? Watch this. Then Paul stood in the midst of Mars Hill and said, now watch what he says here. You men of Athens, I perceive that in all things you are too superstitious. You are. Now watch, I'm going to show you something. This is what is shocking to me, folks. This is what is crazy to me. What's your goal? As you hamster wheel it, what's your goal? What's your end result? To gather as much as you can to leave behind? Hello. To stay busy so you don't. Do you get what I'm saying? Are you really living? Or are you just existing? Think about it. Watch this. You are too superstitious. Now, here's what I was getting to about How all that's going on today has been going on from day one. We just see it more because there's more ways to communicate or whatever. Watch this. You are too superstitious. For as I passed by and beheld your devotion, I found an altar with this inscription to the unknown God. Let me read it again. For as I passed by and beheld your devotions, I found an altar with this inscription to the unknown God. Now notice that. This is after years and years and years, okay? This is after years and years, and I know, people point that out a lot. People point that out a lot. I see movies where they point out, well, the Old Testament wrath, vengeful God. That's what they try to separate the two. I'm sorry, but the same as you call a wrath, vengeful God is the same God in the New Testament. He doesn't change. Then people will read those. Well, he says stone him. He says burn him up. He says all these things. But you fail to realize something, folks. I'll share this with you. Did you know there's a battle? And I'm not talking about mental, I'm not talking about spiritual. But did you know there's a battle going on in your body right now between white blood cells and whatever shouldn't be there? Your white blood cells are attacking things. That's why when you're sick, supposedly, your body shuts down. The reason your body makes you weak is so that it has the strength, if you will. That's a loose term, but to fight off whatever infection is coming into you. Your body's fighting to live. So it closes off your nasal capacity to heat you up a little bit because heat does help. Not too much heat because then your brain will boil. Hello? So the body is made to live. So that battle that's going on between the white blood cells and whatever else entered your body that's being destroyed, that's a kill thing. Okay? Now, I'll share this with you too. And it's loose today because you don't see that today at all. You don't see the upholding of, if you will, the marital thing. You don't see that at all. It's funny because it looks like a play sometimes. It looks like a let's see, nobody there. That's cool. Am I live? I'm live on that one. You know, where am I at? 35 minutes. Oh, 32 minutes. Okay. It's like a show. But you see, let me deal with this. Let me deal with it. Okay, I'll deal with it. Give me a second. Give me a second. Okay. So let's say a man's married 30 years. He loves his wife. She says she loves him, blah, blah, blah. And I can reverse the roles too. It don't matter. And he wants to surprise her on their 30th anniversary. He goes and he buys flowers and candy, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, oh, I want to surprise her. So he takes off from work early. He heads home and he goes home, or she goes home. You can use either one. And they find their loved one in bed with someone else. How fast does that anger turn to hate? How fast does that vengeful want to come and destroy them? You see what I'm saying now? It's not far fetched. Okay. So it's not God in the Old Testament being that way, folks. I can answer all those things. They're there. We'll deal with it, but not right now. Let's deal with this. Okay. He said, for I passed by and beheld your devotions. I found an altar with the inscription, to the unknown God. Now, here's the thing, folks. Here's the thing. This is what's fascinating to me, because they had an altar to the unknown God. Not wild. That's spin right now. Maybe not. To the unknown God. You know, I remember one time my nieces were real small. And my sister said, hey, I'm going to send them to Sunday school. And my nieces came to me and said, we don't want to go. And being a minister, my sister looked at me and wanted to get back up for me. And she says, hey, they should go to Sunday school, shouldn't they, Charles? They need to go. We were forced to go. So I asked my sister, I said, how did you feel when you were forced to go? She goes, I hated it. She goes, oh my God. I said, yeah, you're forcing stuff that you didn't want to do on your kids. And you're only sending them because you want to cover your conscience to see at least I did something right. So you're putting, see what I'm saying? To the unknown God. Whom therefore, now watch what he says here. Whom therefore you ignorantly worship, him declare I unto you. Now I'm going to tell you what true worship is right now. I'm going to give it to you right now. It's not singing. It's not emotion. I'm not saying you're not going to sing. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying you're not going to feel something. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it's not based on that. That's what churches try to promote. Because once churches get your emotions, then they got you. And that's the sad part. Then you're a slave. Then you have to go every Sunday. Then you have to be there on time. Then you see what I'm saying? What's today? Wednesday? Hump day? What time is it? 11? I'm going to tell you this. God's always God. Whether you're on the toilet, whether you're in the shower, whether you're mad at somebody, whether you're happy with somebody, whether you're at work, whether you're not at work, God is still God. God does not change. That's what's so beautiful about it. Okay. Him, whom therefore you ignorantly worship, him declare I unto you. So here's what he's saying here. He's making a statement that's going to cast out everything else that they believe. They've got devotions, they've got altars, they got all these things, and one that says to the unknown God. And he comes along and says, I'm going to tell you who he is right now. I'm going to tell you exactly who he is right now. I love this song. Okay. God that made the world and all things therein, seeing that he is Lord of heaven and earth, dwelleth not in temples made with hands. Let me read that again. God that made the world and all things therein, seeing that he is Lord of heaven and earth, dwelleth not in temples made with hands. So he doesn't dwell in those buildings on Sunday. I'm sorry. I'll read it again. God that made the world and all things therein. Now, I remember one time. Oh God, I got to share this with you. You're not going to like it, but I'm going to share it anyway. I'm reading my Bible. This is years ago. And I'm going back to this truth, but a guy asked me. He said, Charles, if God is so loving, how come airplanes fall out of the sky? I grabbed the Bible and I handed it to him. I said, show me in there where it says how to make airplanes. I said, I'm going to tell you why airplanes in the air. It's not for your convenience. It's not for you to get there quicker. It's not for your comfort. It's for this. Because if this wasn't involved, they wouldn't give a damn about you. And they still don't give a damn about you. Hello. Then he said this. Well, God is so living. How come there's starvation on the earth? I told him straight up. You know why there's starvation on the earth? Because there's greed on the earth. There's more than enough on this planet to sustain everyone. But greed does it. Okay. God made the world and all things therein, seeing that he is Lord of heaven and earth, dwelleth not in temples made with hands. So that building you go to devotionally, whether it be Saturday or Sunday or Wednesday or whatever day, God does not dwell in there. Sorry. I'm going to read it one more time. Maybe you'll catch it this time. God that made the world and all things therein, seeing that he is Lord of heaven and earth, dwelleth not in temples made with hands. I can read it in the Old Testament too. It's there. Neither. Choose which one you want to do. Neither is worshipped with men's hands. Is not worshipped with men's hands. That's heavy. Why is man's hand so significant? Because that's the action. That's the action, folks. That's the things that make things happen. You ever heard of a serial killer with no arms and no legs? Of course not. You ever heard of a serial killer that was blind? Of course not. Hello. I hope nobody from work listens to this, but if they do, welcome and hello. But the reason they don't mess with me there is because I let them know. I let them know, yeah. Don't get me wrong, I don't do it disrespectingly or I don't do it forcefully, but I let them know. There's been people there working 30 years, and they feel because they've been there 30 years, they've got some kind of. So one lady tried to talk crazy to me. I told her straight up, hey, don't talk crazy to me. I don't talk crazy to you. Don't talk crazy to me. She backed off. Now she's nice, which she should have been in the first place because that's the way. Hello, folks. Now, I'm not saying run around like a tyrant. We'll get into that later. There's more on that too. But anyway, watch this. Neither is worship with men's hands as though he needed anything, seeing he giveth to all life and breath and all things. You can't argue that. You cannot argue that. Now, again, if you want to say that there is a chance that the world was by accident and an explosion happened because some guy in a wheelchair that couldn't wipe his own butt, who is now dead, said that, because that's his idea. And I'm going to tell you folks something right now. I'm going to give it to you where he got that from, because it's not his own. When a man enters a woman and the sperm enters the cell, an explosion happens. One becomes two, two become one. Excuse me, one becomes two, two become four, four. See what I'm saying? So that's his idea. Came from that. See, everything that everybody says isn't something new. And I'm sorry, you might think this is new. This is not new. I'm going to show you what I mean. If there was no eyes, would computers be significant? No. There was no ears. See what I'm saying? So you need the old school to make that stuff interesting. AI. People are amazed by AI. They hadn't even got rid of the stupid intelligence that man has yet. They haven't got a handle on that one yet. Artificial. Why is organic now the better thing when in fact that's what was initially started from? But now it's the better thing. You got it at a higher price and a better aisle and all by itself, artificial, or excuse me, organic. And artificial stuff is bad. Case word there, artificial intelligence. That should tell you something right there. What's up? Oh, but no, we will see. They tell you these things so you'll buy into it. Okay, never mind. Going back to this now. Let me read that again. Neither is worship with men's hands as though he needed anything, seeing he giveth to all life and breath and all things. That he giveth to all life and breath and all things. Like I think I shared this with you before, and I'm going to do it again. When that guy told me, why should I be thankful to God? God has never done anything for me. That's what he said. I said, cool. Then you need to get yourself off his planet, go to another one, make your own oxygen, and quit breathing his. Then right away he said, I never thought of it that way. That's the problem. We never think of it. We never think of it. I'm almost done. Don't worry. Let me see what time it is. 11:30. I'm almost done. We're at 44 minutes. All right. Well, continuing on. And have made of one blood all nations of men for to dwell all to dwell on all the face of the earth, and have determined the times before appointed and the bounds of their habitation. That's the truth. that they should seek the Lord, if haply they might feel after him and find him, though he be not far from every one of us. For in him we live and move and have our being, as certain also of your own poets have said. Now he's even going to go to them what they're saying about themselves. Your own poets said this. What did they say? For we are also his offspring. Their own philosophers said that. For as much then as we are the offspring of God, we ought not to think the Godhead is like unto gold or silver or stone, graven by art and man's device. And the time of this ignorance God winked at. But now commandeth all men everywhere to repent. Now, that's another terminology that religion uses or churches use. Repent. They use that term loosely. And their idea of repent is this: come and hear my message, feel bad, come to around me, dedicate yourself, join my organization, and then I'm your leader. I'm your pastor. That's their idea. That's not God's idea. That's not what repent to God is. Oh, let me give you worship. Acknowledgement. That's all it is. Worship is acknowledgement. That's all it is. It doesn't make it any more. It doesn't make it more than what it is. It's just someone saying that's what it is. Acknowledgement. Because he hath appointed a day, 31, in which he will judge the world in righteousness by that man whom he hath ordained, whereof we have also given assurance unto all men, in that he hath raised him from the dead. And when they heard of the resurrection of the dead, some mocked, and others said, we will hear thee again of this matter. So Paul departed from among them. We will hear thee again of this matter, because again it goes back to that stigma. Okay, that stigma. So he told him exactly who he is, and we just read it right now. Where do you read in there? Join a church. Doesn't say that. Where do you read in there? Live a better life. Does not say that. That's a simple thing he said there. God that made everything. And he's not far from every one of us. And he ordained this man called Jesus. We'll get into that too, don't worry. Okay. So that's the thing about it. And again, like I said, there's so much out there. Okay, let me show you what I mean. Now, some of you can't agree with this because you've been hurt by it many times. So it leaves a bad taste in your mouth, if you will. Tainted. But those 3 words, I love you, that's pretty profound. I told my kids that every single day I was around them. Every chance I had. And I didn't do it because there's a chance they could die or because I might not see them again, blah, blah, blah. It just came out of me because it's true. Just like water. Water is going to fall because it rises. That's the cycle they call it. It will fall because it rose. So it's always down and it's always up. So it's never down and never up. Because it's always down and always up. I know that's intense. But anyway, watch this. So when those words are shared, they change a milestone. And I used to do this. If you're watching, guys, I do love you. I used to do this. When they go to sleep, I would go through the whole house and make sure every window was locked. Make sure every heating component, there was nothing plugged in. There was no cloth. I did that through the whole house. for them. And then I take my flashlight and I walk outside and shine my lights in the woods and shine around the house and shine on the bottom. And I walk that house maybe 2 or 3 times in one night. That's the same setting, of course. And then we had dogs, so we could hear barking. That's what I would do every time, every night. And I pressed this in their head. Here's what I said. I said, if you ever have children, don't look away for a second. Ever. Do not ever look away for 1 second. Because every time a child is hurt or broken or killed, a parent's words are, I only looked away for a second. When they would play outside, I'd open all my windows. And you might say that's paranoid. That's overprotective. Well, let me tell you folks something. When it came to them being little, I was their first and only line of defense. I'd open all my windows and I'd open all the curtains and I walk outside every 5 minutes to make sure they were okay. Hello. When they had their pool, I put the pool right by the window where I sat and did my art or watched TV or whatever, and I'd make sure they were right there. When I didn't let them go off by themselves. When we were at restaurants, I had their older sister walk them to the bathroom, even if she didn't have to go, and walk them back. When they played on the road, so the car comes, you get off the road. Get off all the way out. Don't just get on the side. Get off all the way out. Watch out. And I told them, when you get older, you do the same thing. There's nothing worse than losing a child. They're adults now. Well, 3 of them are. Anyway, going back to this now. So I bring this truth, and like I said, I'm not trying to convince you of anything. I'm really, really, really not. You know, you got a better argument, bring it. Post it down. You know, you got something better, share it. But there's nothing greater than this. There isn't. Because this is not based on translation of man. Okay? It's not. I'm not. Notice, I didn't give you anything that I interpreted. I just read it. That's all I did. And give you examples. I didn't retranslate this. I didn't go, oh, well, gee, he might have been 6 feet tall and blah, blah. And I don't get into that. But truth. All right? So I'm going to be going to work pretty soon. And I'm starting up these again as hesitantly as I want to be. Still, with all the lies that are going on, it's blowing my mind. So let me bring some light into the darkness, if you will. And if you're listening, thank you. Like I said, if you have any questions, go for it. So you might say, well, what is the moral of this? Well, there isn't. It's just truth. Read it for yourself. Acts 17. Read the whole chapter if you want to. But there's some points in there that he makes that are so strong. God does not dwell in temples made with hands. I remember I'd go to church and a gentleman would say, well, it's good to be in the house of God. I would say, no. It's good to be the house of God. Prove it? Okay, watch this. He doesn't dwell in temples made with hands. We just read that. Watch this. Watch this. What's this? $3:16, 1 Corinthians. 1 Corinthians 3:16. Know you not that you are the temple of God, and that the Spirit of God dwelleth in you? Don't you know that you are the temple? Continuing on, okay. Peter. I think it's first. Oh, here we go. What's this? I heard a ding on my phone, I think. What's this? I'll find it. Give me a second, please. I'll find it. First Peter. Oh yeah, here you go. First Peter 2:5. If you want to check it out for yourself. First Peter 2:5. You also, as lively stones, are built up a spiritual house. Read it again. You also, as lively stones, are built up a spiritual house, an holy priesthood to offer up spiritual sacrifices acceptable to God by Jesus Christ. Spiritual house. You are the temple of God. God does not dwell in temples made with hands. I'm not bringing something new. It's here. They don't want to read that because when they open their building, they need you there to sustain their livelihood, to make them feel important because they've got all these people in my building. And you, like slaves, do it. God didn't call you to slavery, He called you to freedom. Anyway, going back to this now. God bless. Thanks for joining in. It's an hour now, so I'm going to end the stream. Boom. End live video. How do you like the new computer? This is the computer I'm on now, and this one right here. This one is YouTube. But anyway, I'm going to end it on YouTube. Bye bye, YouTube. And I'm going to end it on